The American Academy of Pediatrics has called for a complete ban on one of the most popular baby products in America. Not a warning, a complete ban. And it's probably sitting in a garage or basement near you right now. I'm talking about baby walkers. But here's what's really wild. They're just one of 7 products that parents buy thinking they're helping. Pre-holiday, when they're actually creating developmental delays that can show up months or even years later. And number 5 on this list. It's marketed as a safety device. It's in 90% of nurseries, and pediatricians are practically begging parents to stop using it. By the end of this video, you'll look at your baby's nursery completely differently. Not because you're a bad parent, but because nobody's telling you what these products actually do to developing bodies and brains. Let's start with the one stealing your baby's movement. Number 1. Baby walkers. Here's what the research actually shows about baby walkers, and this isn't debatable. A study of 190 infants found that babies who used walkers walked 3 to 4 weeks later than babies who did day. They also scored measurably lower on developmental assessments at 10 and 14 months. But it gets worse. When a baby is in a walker, they're not learning to walk. They're learning a completely different movement pattern. They're pushing off with their toes and rolling. No balance required. No core strength needed. No problem solving about how to shift their weight without falling. And here's what parents don't realize. All that floor time. They're struggling. They're wobbling. They're falling on their padded diaper and trying again. That's not frustration. That is their nervous system building the neural pathways for independent movement. Every time your baby catches themselves before falling, that's their cerebellum learning. Every time they pull up on the couch and their legs shake from the effort, that's muscle memory being encoded. But the walker skips all of it. Now, add the safety issue. Walkers give babies mobility before they have judgment. Suddenly, your 8-month-old can reach the stairs, the stove, the table with the hot coffee. The AAP reviewed the data and said, this product shouldn't exist. And yet, it's still sold in every major retailer, still given as gifts, still marketed to exhausted parents who just want 10 minutes of hands-free time. So, here's what actually works. Floor play. Hold their hands and let them walk with you. Chat 2. Get them a sturdy push toy that doesn't roll away easily, one they have to work to move. Next, Bumbo seats. They look harmless, right? This cute little molded foam chair that props your baby up before they can sit on their own. The problem is, that's exactly the problem. When you put a baby in a Bumbo, you're forcing them into a position their body isn't ready for. The seat locks their pelvis into a posterior tilt, which rounds their lower back and slumps their shoulders forward. It's the exact opposite of the strong, straight posture they need to develop for sitting independently. They aren't engaging their core muscles to stay upright. The chair is doing all the work. So instead of building strength, they're learning to rely on external support. And again, you're robbing them of that crucial floor time. Tummy time isn't just about neck strength. It's about strengthening the entire chain of muscles from their neck down to their back, hips, and legs. It's about learning to push up, roll over, and eventually push themselves back into a sitting position. That struggle is the whole point. So, what's the alternative? A playmat on the floor with some engaging toys, just out of reach. That's it. Let them figure it out. Their body knows the sequence. Now for number 3, baby jumpers. The exercise, the jumperoo, they all fall into this category. They seem like a great way for a baby to burn off energy. But just like walkers, they teach the wrong movement patterns. Babies in jumpers spend most of their time pushing off with their toes. This can lead to tight calf muscles and contribute to toe walking later on. It also puts a lot of repetitive stress on their hip and knee joints, which are still developing. Chair. And again, it requires zero core strength or balance. They are just bouncing in a harness. That bouncing motion might look fun, but it's not purposeful movement. It's not teaching them how to coordinate their limbs, shift their weight, or navigate their environment. Think about it. A baby learning to stand pulls up, wobbles, squats down, and tries again. A baby in a jumper just bounces. The solution is the same. Create a safe yes space on the floor where they can pull up on soft furniture and cruise along the couch. Let them build those leg and core muscles naturally. Now we move from movement to sleep. And number 4 is a big one. Weighted sleep sacks and blankets. These products became popular with the promise of helping babies sleep longer by providing calming pressure. The American Academy of Pediatrics and the CPSC have issued strong warnings against them. Here's why. A baby's ribcage is soft and pliable. Placing even a small amount of weight on their chest can restrict their breathing. It can lower their oxygen levels and increase their carbon dioxide levels, which is a major risk factor for SIDS. Babies do want to have the strength or coordination to move the weight off of them if they get into an unsafe position. The marketing claims that they mimic a parent's touch are just that, marketing. There is zero scientific evidence that these products improve infant sleep or are safe. In fact, the evidence points to them being dangerous. The safest sleep environment is simple: a firm, flat mattress in a crib or bassinet with nothing in it but a fitted sheet. No blankets, no pillows, no bumpers, and definitely no weights. Which brings us to the product that's in 90% of nurseries. Number 5. Crib bumpers. These were originally designed to prevent a baby's head from getting stuck between wide crib slats. But modern cribs have mandatory safety standards with narrow slats, making that issue obsolete. So now, bumpers are just a suffocation and entrapment hazard. Babies can press their face against the soft bumper, blocking their airway. They can get tangled in the ties. And as they get older, they can use the bumper as a step to climb out of the crib and fall. The AAP has been clear on this for over a decade. Bumpers should not be used, period. Not the padded ones, not the mesh ones, none of them. They offer zero safety benefits and pose a very real risk. The safest crib is a bare crib. Next, let's talk about feeding. Number 6. Sippy cups with hard spouts. You know the ones. The go-to transition cup from a bottle. But pediatric dentists and speech therapists are not fans. Sucking on a hard spout encourages an immature, bottle-like sucking pattern. The tongue stays flat and forward, instead of learning the mature swallowing pattern where the tongue lifts to the roof of your baby. Will walk when their body's ready, and they'll do it better without the walker. Number 2. Bumbo seats, or early sit-up chairs. Quick question. How many of you have seen those molded foam seats that hold babies upright before they can sit independently? Now, here's the part nobody tells you. Sitting isn't something you teach. It's something that develops from the inside out. When babies spend time on their tummies, rolling and pushing up on their arms, they're building the deep core muscles that eventually make sitting possible. But when we prop them up artificially, we're putting pressure on a spine that isn't ready. We're skipping the muscle development that has to happen first. Think about it like this. Imagine someone locked you into a position you didn't have the strength to hold and walked away. That's what these seats do. The fixed floor time. Let your baby figure out. Sitting the way nature designed, they'll push up from their tummy into side sitting first, then sit with their hands forward for support. Venture, they'll sit independently because their body earned it, and that's when sitting becomes actually functional. But delaying your baby's physical milestones. That might not be the most damaging thing on this list. Because the next 2 products interfere with something even more fundamental: how your baby's brain learns to think. Number 3. Screens and educational baby videos. Alright, deep breath, because I'm about to talk about screens and I can already feel half of you getting defensive. Stay with me. Here's what the research shows and I mean actual peer-reviewed studies, not opinions. For babies under 2, screens don't teach. They delay language and social development. But my baby loves watching videos. They're so focused. Exactly. That's the problem. Your baby's eyes track the bright colors. Their attention is captured by the rapid movement. But that's not learning. That's just hijacked attention. And here's the crucial difference. Babies learn language from back and forth human interaction. They need to babble and have you respond. They need to point at something and hear you name it. They need to watch your face change expression when you talk. Videos can't do that. Even interactive videos can't respond to your specific baby's specific sounds in real time. But there's something else happening. That rapid-fire stimulation, the quick cuts, the flashing colors, the constant sensory input makes real life seem boring by comparison. Real conversations are slower. Real play is quieter. And babies can start craving that intense stimulation, which makes it harder for them to engage with the patient, responsive interactions their brain actually needs. Now, I'm not saying your baby's ruined if they've seen a screen. But here, est what I am saying. Every minute in front of a screen is a minute not spent in the kind of interaction that actually builds language. You know a baby who watches 2 hours of educational videos a day, hears thousands of words. It sounds great, right? But hold on. A baby who spends those same 2 hours with a real person being talked to, sung to, and read to doesn't just hear more words. They hear them with emotional tone, with facial expressions, with a natural back-and-forth rhythm. That is where language truly lives, not in videos. So, what do you do when you just need a break? Because you're human, and sometimes you need 10 minutes to make dinner without a baby on your hip. The answer isn't screens. It's creating a safe play space where your baby can explore toys on their own. Even if they fuss a little, they're learning to entertain themselves. They're developing an attention span and using their imagination. Even better, talk to them while you cook. Narrate what you're doing. I'm cutting the carrots now. Hear that crunching sound? Now the carrots are going in the pot. It might feel silly, but it's actually languid gold for your little one. Speaking of overstimulation, let's talk about those flashy, noisy toys. You know, the ones they light up, play music, and basically perform for your child. These toys don't nurture curiosity. They demand attention. Watch what happens when a child plays with a toy that does everything. Okay? The toy makes the noise. The toy performs the action. The toy dictates the play. Your child becomes an audience member, not a creator. Now, watch what happens with simple toys. Blocks, a wooden spoon and a pot, a simple cardboard box. Suddenly, your child has to imagine what it becomes. They create the story. They figure out how the pieces fit together. This is where executive function develops. This is where creativity is born. That's real-time problem solving. Plus, simple toys are naturally calming. There's no frantic competition for their attention. Play becomes focused and intentional. I'm not saying throw out every single electronic toy you own. But just notice what your child gravitates toward when they have a choice. You might be surprised to find that the $50 light-up gadget sits in the corner while they spend an entire hour with the box it came in. That's not a failure of the toy. That's your child's brain craving the open-ended play it needs to thrive. Now, everything we've covered so far affects your baby's development over months and years. But this next category is something parents need to know about today. Because unlike the other products, these can be dangerous right now. I'm talking about infant sleep positioners and cushion sleep pods. Okay, we really need to pause here. Because I'm about to discuss a product that major health organizations have issued urgent warnings about. Meds. I guarantee you've seen it recommended in parenting groups just this week. Infant sleep positioners. Those cozy-looking nests that promise better sleep and reduced reflux. This is the one product on this list that genuinely scares me. Not just frustrates me, it scares me. Thick. The American Academy of Pediatrics is crystal clear. Babies should sleep on a firm, flat surface with nothing else in the crib. No soft cushions, no positioning devices, nothing. And there are two big reasons for this. First, the immediate safety risk. Soft surfaces can restrict natural movement and tragically increase the risk of suffocation. Vic. Even if your baby seems comfortable, these products create incredibly dangerous situations. But here's the part that's talked about less: the developmental impact. When babies sleep on a firm, flat surface, they naturally move during their sleep. They turn their heads, they shift their weight, they adjust their position. Those small movements are crucial for strengthening their muscles and developing their motor skills. Cushioned pods restrict all of that essential movement. There's also a sensory component to consider. A bare crib allows your baby to see their environment, to track light and shadows, and to hear sounds clearly. It's a gentle form of stimulation. Cushioned pods, on the other hand, create a visually monotonous, enclosed space that actually reduces sensory input. So, for both safety and healthy development, always remember: firm, flat, and bare is the safest and best way for your baby to sleep. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on raising healthy, happy kids. What about those flat spots on their head? That's a valid concern. But the solution isn't a sleep positioner. It's more tummy time when they're awake, varying the direction they face in the crib and holding them more. The bottom line is, a firm, bare crib is a safe crib. All you need is a fitted sheet and a wearable blanket for warmth. Nothing else. Said, I know it looks stark, but it's what keeps your baby the absolute safest. Now, let's talk about devices that rock or vibrate to soothe your baby. And look, I get it. When you're holding a crying baby for the third hour straight, a swing that can take over feels like an answered prayer. These products promise relief. But here's what we trade away: attunement. Attunement, it's when you learn your baby's unique rhythms. It's when you can tell their hungry cry from their tired cry. It's when you figure out that your baby comes with a specific swaying motion or a particular humming sound that only you can make. And that learning goes both ways. Your baby is learning your rhythm to how you hold them, your scent, your heartbeat. That is how a secure attachment forms. When a machine does the soothing, that back and forth learning just doesn't happen. Babies can become dependent on mechanical motion. They start to need the swing to sleep, or they can't settle without the vibration. Here's the thing about human soothing. It's irregular. Your breathing changes. Your swaying isn't perfectly rhythmic. And that variability actually helps babies learn to regulate their own systems. They're not just maintained at a constant state. They're learning how to modulate between different states. Now, if you're using a swing for a 5-minute break to use the bathroom, that's completely reasonable. But if the swing becomes the primary way your baby falls asleep, we're creating a dependency that can make everything harder in the long term. The alternatives: things like baby wearing, gentle rocking in your arms, skin-to-skin contact, and consistent bedtime routines. Yes, it's more work up front, but it builds something lasting. A baby who feels secure with you and develops their own capacity for self-soothing. Your presence is so much more powerful than any machine. We've covered movement, brain development, and sleep. But there's one last product category that touches on all three, and it might be sitting in your diaper bag right now. Food, pouches, and delayed self-feeding tools. Food pouches are absolutely everywhere. No mess, no prep. Perfectly portioned, and easy to travel with. For occasional use, they're fine. But here's the issue. When pouches become the primary way a child eats, we rob them of crucial developmental experiences. Let me paint you a picture of what your baby is supposed to be learning during mealtimes. They're learning to use their hands to pick up different textures. They're figuring out the force needed to grasp a slippery banana versus a firm cracker. They're developing the fine motor skills needed to bring food to their mouth. And they're strengthening the oral muscles that are essential for chewing and, eventually, for clear speech. They're also learning about food through all their senses. Shay, what does a blueberry feel like when you squeeze it? What does sweet potato smell like? What happens when I smash this avocado? When everything comes from a pouch, that sensory exploration just doesn't happen. Food becomes this uniform, smooth texture that requires no chewing, no manipulation, and no discovery. And there's something else. Self-feeding builds confidence. When your baby successfully gets a piece of food into their mouth, they light up with pride. I did this. I'm capable. Pouches can keep children dependent. Even toddlers who could be using utensils often stay on pouches because it's easier and cleaner for the parents. Now, before you start feeling guilty, I completely understand the appeal. Mess is exhausting. Here's what I want you to consider. That mess is learning. Those smashed peas on the high chair? That's your baby figuring out cause and effect. That banana in their hair? That's sensory exploration and fine motor practice. So, start with finger foods they can grasp. Offer different textures and temperatures. Let them explore with their hands before they even try eating. Give them a spoon to hold, even if they can't use it effectively yet. Yes, it will be messy. Put a mat under the high chair. Dress them in clothes you don't care about. Take a photo and laugh, because that mess is temporary, but the skills they're building will last a lifetime. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you feel more confident in your parenting journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips. Let's talk about baby skills. Not the ones they get from a fancy gadget, but the ones they build themselves. The ones that last forever. Think about crawling, walking, talking, feeding themselves. These are milestones, right? Now, here's what's wild about the products we often buy to help with these. Baby walkers, bumbo seats, food pouches, sleep positioners, even those mesmerizing screen-based toys. Did you know every single one of these was invented in the last 40 to 70 years? Baby walkers hit the scene in the 1950s. Bumbo seats, early 2000s. And those super convenient food pouches, they've only been around for about 15 years. This means literally millions, even billions of babies, including our parents and our grandparents, grew up and developed perfectly fine without a single one of them. So, the big question is, why do we suddenly feel like we need them now? The simple answer is, we don't. But we're up against a giant. The baby product industry is worth over $80 billion globally, and let me tell you, they are masters at marketing. They are incredibly good at making you believe that their product is the key to your baby's success, safety, or your sanity. Now, let's be clear. These products weren't created with bad intentions. The companies behind them genuinely believe they're offering a helpful solution. And parents who buy them, you are doing your absolute best, trying to give your child every advantage, coming from a place of love and care, and that's what matters most. But remember at the start when I said these products might be quietly holding your child back? This is what I mean by quietly. The delays they can cause don't announce themselves with a big flashing sign. You don't get a push notification on your phone saying, "Warning, your baby's core strength is not developing because they're sitting in a container." There's no pop-up alert that says, "Language skills are lagging due to lack of face-to-face interaction." It just happens slowly, almost invisibly, day by day. Until suddenly, you're at the 18-month checkup. And the pediatrician starts asking questions you weren't quite prepared for. She walking steadily on her own. How many words is he saying? Can she feed herself with a spoon? And in that moment, a little bit of panic might set in. You're thinking, wait a minute, I thought we were doing everything right. We bought all the best stuff. Here is the fundamental truth. The one that gets lost in all the marketing noise. Real, lasting development doesn't come from a product. It happens through movement, connection, touch, and exploration. It happens on the floor, rolling and pushing up. It happens in your arms, feeling safe and connected. It happens with simple, open-ended toys that spark imagination, not just a button that plays a song. It happens during messy meals, where they learn to use their hands and mouth. It happens in all those ordinary, unremarkable moments that fill your day. You don't need every trending product that pops up on your social media feed. You definitely don't need the most expensive gear to raise a thriving child. What your baby truly needs is you. They need you to trust the natural process, to believe that their little bodies and brains are brilliantly wired to know exactly what to do. Your role isn't to accelerate development. It's to provide the opportunities for it to unfold naturally. So, here's a small challenge for you. I don't want you to go on a decluttering rampage and throw out everything in your nursery, but tonight, after you've put your baby to bed and the house is quiet, take just 5 minutes. Walk through your home, look at the baby gear you own, and for each item, ask yourself one simple question. Is this product doing something for my baby that my baby should be learning to do for themselves? Is this bouncer holding my baby upright when they should be on the floor learning to use their core muscles? Is this food pouch feeding them when they could be practicing their pincer grasp and spoon skills? That's it. Just one question. I promise, it can change your perspective on everything. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me which product on this list surprised you the most. Was it learning that baby walkers can delay walking? Or that even educational screens can have a downside? And if this video sparked a new thought or changed how you see these products, please share it with another parent. Sometimes, the most helpful thing we can do for each other is just pass on good information so we can all make more informed choices. At the end of the day, your presence, your patience, and your willingness to let your baby's development unfold at its own pace. That is more powerful and more valuable than anything money can buy. Thank you so much for watching.